welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a digital phenomenon that I can almost guarantee you've experienced, probably just in the last week, without even realizing it had a name. We're looking at formative engagement farming, uncovering the mechanics of nostalgia and literally pulling back the curtain on this incredibly familiar online experience to see the hidden machinery underneath.
You know exactly the format we're talking about, right? Picture it, a thumbnail featuring someone mid-gasp, mouth wide open, eyes locked in absolute shock, right next to an album cover or a logo you literally haven't thought about in 15 years. The title is usually something totally irresistible, like reacting to the song that defined a generation. And you click. I mean, of course you click, because you grew up with that song. It's a piece of your own personal history just staring right back at you. Okay, let's dive into this. What happens next is a highly choreographed sequence. Barely 30 seconds in, the reactor pauses the clip. They look right at the camera and go, "Wait, did you guys grow up listening to this? Drop it in the comments." Then, play. 10 seconds later, boom, another pause. Okay, but seriously, where were you the first time you heard this? By the time the clip actually finishes, you've commented twice, liked the post, and the algorithm has quietly decided this creator deserves to be pushed to another 50,000 people who just so happen to share that exact same memory.
So what exactly did you just participate in? Well, according to our source material, it wasn't a review. It wasn't really commentary. And actually, it wasn't even a genuine reaction. It's a highly calculated strategy known as formative engagement farming. This is basically when someone reacts to culturally significant media to exploit an audience's pre-existing emotional investment, all for algorithmic gain. They're essentially collecting on the emotional labor that was done by the original creators and by the audiences years and years ago.
The absolutely crucial word here is formative. You see, they're reacting to the things that already shaped you. These creators aren't stepping out on a limb to explore, new music or challenging new ideas. No, they're intentionally mining the albums of your adolescence or the TV shows of your childhood. They're hunting for those massive cultural moments we've all been carrying around for a decade. The reactor is really just showing up to collect an algorithmic paycheck on a foundation they didn't even build. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why they do it. To really get this, we have to look at the invisible math of the algorithm. Platforms don't just reward raw views anymore. They reward engagement. The rate of comments, likes, watch time. Look at the numbers here. Video A might have 50,000 views but only 200 comments, giving it a low algorithm value. But video B? Only 10,000 views, but a massive 2,000 comments. The algorithm sees video B as high value because that level of engagement signals intent. It screams to the system, hey, people really care about this.
Formative engagement farmers understand this math intuitively. By picking material with deep, pre-existing nostalgic roots, they're guaranteeing themselves an emotionally primed audience before they even hit record. The comments practically write themselves. This song got me through high school, or my mom used to play this on road trips, or I forgot how much this meant to me. Notice something wild about these? They aren't reacting to the host at all. They're reacting to their own memories. The creator just provided the trigger.
Which brings us to a really fascinating point from the source text. The embedded questions are not curiosity, they are levers. When they ask you for your favorite lyric, it's like an illusion of magic. It feels so conversational, right? But every single question is a calculated prompt. It's a lever being pulled to trigger the exact type of activity that tells the algorithm to push their content out to a wider and wider network.
Now, we do need to be super clear about the difference between this and genuine cultural dialogue. A true reaction offers a fresh perspective. Encountering something totally new, like a 20-year-old authentically discovering the Beatles for the first time, that's amazing to watch, but that is fundamentally different from a seasoned creator performing an encounter with a Linkin Park album in 2024 just for algorithmic benefit, simply because they know it's going to flood the comments with millennial emotion. The real difference here is legible intent.
Section 2. The hidden costs. Who really pays for nostalgia? We've seen the mechanics, so let's shift gears to look at the philosophical and economic fallout of this practice. Because yes, there is a measurable fallout here, and the costs are spread across three main groups. First, the original creator. They lose out on a totally lopsided equation where the reactor sweeps up the ad revenue and the subscribers. Then, there's the viewer. Your genuine, formative connections are systematically mined. And finally, the platform itself takes a hit, seeing a massive decrease in the incentive for people to actually create original work.
But let's pause and really think about that cost to the viewer for a second. Because it's subtle, but it's deep. The memory becomes content. The feeling becomes a metric. You see, nostalgia isn't an infinite resource. It's a genuine, deeply personal emotion. When that's turned into a cheap, harvestable commodity by algorithms and machinery, well, something really special gets lost in the transaction.
And from a macro perspective, it raises a really big question. Why build something new when you can just borrow something old and proven? Think about it. If the system rewards low-effort, recycled cultural value, why would anyone spend months risking it all on a brand new project? It's just so much easier to borrow beloved nostalgia and reap double the rewards.
But hey, let's be honest with ourselves here. We willingly participate in this, and we often do it gladly. If you look at one of these comment sections, it is so warm. It's incredibly communal, and the feeling is completely genuine. People are sharing beautiful memories and bonding with total strangers over shared experiences. The emotion is very real, even if the machinery behind it is a bit cynical.
So, the crucial point is, we shouldn't blame ourselves. Like the source text says, nostalgia is, at its core, a social emotion. It wants company. From the inside, an engagement farm doesn't feel like a farm. It feels like a hangout. It's a shared gathering point. And honestly, that is exactly why this whole system is so incredibly successful.
Now, naming a problem is how we take its power away. Think about clickbait. Naming the practice gave audiences a framework to recognize and resist it, right? Well, formative engagement farming is the exact same thing. Giving this exploit a name gives us the power to watch more clearly. It demystifies the trick. It doesn't mean all reactions are evil, but it totally empowers us to spot the borrowed cultural capital.
Which brings us to our final takeaway. The next time you're scrolling and you see that wide-eyed, gasping thumbnail, and the creator asks you to tell thousands of strangers where you were the first time you heard a song, pause. Notice the question. See those invisible levers at work. And then, entirely on your own terms, decide if you actually want to answer.